Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Roman. Your Excellency Bakla as Muhammad, Consul General, Federal Republic of Nigeria, and distinguished guests, industry representatives, and investor developers. It is my pleasure to welcome you here this afternoon at open source launching ceremony of HLC public chain. HLC is the first public chain focused on serving global Islamic economy and beyond. HLC public chain is built on the new distributed ledger, which is DD technology. This underlying technology guarantees security and decentralization by achieving high throughput. Based on the HLC market research and blockchain stakeholders, there are some challenges facing blockchain industry in both practical and technology perspectives, which keep blockchain into practical business scenarios. This event is going to analyze and explain the challenges facing developing and solving those challenges. The open source launching ceremony of HLC public chain aims to achieve the following objectives: to provide the global Islamic economy stakeholders information of how HLC solve the challenges facing blockchain industry. Also, we are really welcome to connect the major blockchain technology companies in order to share your knowledge on HLC open source. And we would like to establish a relationship with the fintech investors from different jurisdictions and the global Islamic economy. Later on, we have a coffee break to communicate with each other, so I hope you guys enjoy it. And we are here to support Dubai's vision and initiatives to be capital for Islamic creative economy and blockchain. So we attract technical developers globally to participate in the open source ecosystem. So starting from session 1, without further delay, I would like to invite Sheikh Hassan to give a welcome speech. Welcome, Sheikh Hassan.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أحمد ربي وأشكره وأصلي وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سعادة القنصل العام أبو بكر محمد لسفارة جمهورية النيجيريا الفيدرالية في دبي. الحضر الكرام، أسعد الله مساءكم بكل خير. بداية أود الترحيب بضيوفنا الكرام إلى افتتاح مصدر البرنامج حلال تشين للجماهير، والذي أتمنى في هذه الحفلة بمناقشة فعالة، كما أتقدم بجزيل الشكر وأخلص العبارات التقدير لمشاركتكم في افتتاح هذا البرنامج للجماهير. وتتناول هذه الحفلة في هذا المساء ما تواصل إليه مؤسسة حلال تشين خلال السنتين لإعداد بلوك تشين العام لمؤسسة حلال تشين. تم تأسيس المؤسسة حلال تشين من قبل مجموعة متنوعة من أصحاب المصالح في الصناعة، بما في ذلك الشركات الصناعية والمؤسسات المالية ومطوري بلوك تشين، تماشيا مع رؤية دبي عاصمة الاقتصاد الإسلامي وعاصمة البلوك تشين، وذلك لتحقيق الرؤية ومعالجة تحديات الصناعة وإعادة تشكيل صناعة الاقتصاد الإسلامي العالمي. تعتبر إمارة دبي مدينة ابتكارية للمستقبل، حيث لديها أفضل نظام إيكولوجية والبنية التحتية والموارد البشرية والتنظيم الحيوي للشركات الناشئة العالمية. في ضوء ذلك فإنه من الاستراتيجية اتخاذ إمارة دبي المقر الرئيسي للمشروع من أجل رفع المشروع على مستوى دولي وتحقيق إمكانها. في الحقيقة إن صناعة الاقتصاد الإسلامي ما يقارب من 6 تريليون دولار أمريكي، ولم يتم تأسيس هذا النظام التكنولوجي الجوهري لربط الاقتصاد الإسلامي في جميع مجالات صناعة الخدمات المالية الإسلامية، والتي ينبغي أن تكون في مكانها إيجاب الدولة الفعالة، والذي سيهتم البدء في أساس متين للازدهار واللامركزية والصناعة الحيوية. ومن المعلوم أن مؤسسة حلال جن تؤمن بأن هناك علاقة متينة بين التكنولوجيا والاقتصاد الإسلامي العالمي. ضيوفنا الكرام، أجدد الترحيب بكم مرة أخرى، وأشكركم على المشاركة في فعاليات هذه الحفلة التي تنعقدها مؤسسة حلال جن لافتتاح مصدر البرنامج للجماهير. وجزا الله كل من شارك في هذه الحفلة خير الجزاء، ووفقكم الله، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Now, I would like to invite Mr. Abdullah Yu, founder and managing director of Halal Chain, to give the keynote speech regarding HLC public chain. So, welcome.
Hello, Your Excellency, distinguished guests, our beloved industry stakeholders from blockchain space and Islamic financial space, and ladies and gentlemen, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you, and appreciate for your presence in such challenging weather. And firstly, I would like to say that don't get scared. If you have reviewed the schedule in your hand, in my right, like 4 hours, I will cut off the panel discussion and cut off my keynote speech to make it short. So we have more time for interactive discussions. We have more time for networking. So firstly, I would like to, how can I say, firstly, to review our journey, whereby Your Excellency has witnessed our launching ceremony by 2017, and which we are very active and dynamic blockchain since 2017, and with operations across different jurisdictions. And after almost 2 years, we are finally here. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for you to witness this great ceremony today. And today my speech is about Islamic finance and blockchain. I'm going to emphasize the relevance, how this kind of 2 different ecosystems is going to support each other, and how we are going to bring the mutual impact and benefit from both space, from Islamic finance, from blockchain. And firstly, I believe like everybody are familiar with Islamic finance, right? Which has a community of like 2 billion people, and has a size of like let me say $6 trillion. Which like Islamic finance has like $3 trillion, and the halal industry has $3 trillion, which is $6 trillion, and it demonstrates a very robust performance in the crisis of 2008. But today, I'm not going to praise Islamic finance. I'm here to describe and analyze with our industry stakeholders what is the challenges to make this ecosystem more inclusive. And today, how can I say, Islamic finance, firstly, I would like to say, is very small, because in terms of like $2 trillion, but compared to the traditional size of financial industry is nearly like $100 trillion. We just occupy 2% of global market share. And secondly, Islamic finance, how can I say, it has been fractured by different small, tiny markets among the OIC economies, from Middle East, from Africa, from GCC countries, whereby we have like a small bank from maybe Nigeria, we have a bank from Bangladesh, and we have a bank maybe from Sri Lanka or from Indonesia. While all the system, they don't have a channel, they don't have a chance to communicate and talk to each other, to come out with this kind of cross-border liquidity, which we cannot see. This is the first one. And secondly, I would like to say Islamic finance is very hard to get rid of riba because we claim we are interest-free banking. Right? We claim to introduce a new alternative financial system to get rid of riba, speculation, and leverage. But actually, it's very hard. Because of what? Because of today, the Islamic finance system is building on top of traditional financial system. It's like you're building up your house on somebody else's foundation. So how could we come up with a very disruptive and alternative solution to bring this kind of financial inclusion? So it's very hard to get rid of riba. That is why today 85% of the Islamic banks are doing Morocco, which today we have some stakeholders. I don't want to offend any bankers, and I'm just trying to discuss what is going to be the best solution to come out to address these concerns and challenges. And secondly, Islamic finance today is lack of relevance and connectivities, like Islamic capital market, Islamic insurance, and trading finance, and wakala, and sodaka, wakaf, nearly 40 to 100 concepts in Islamic finance. But there's no connectivity among the foundation layers. All right, they just come out to avoid a riba by introduction of a very complex legal structures. So, and apart from that, and there's no cross-border liquidity pool. At the same time, Islamic banks, because they cannot collect interest, so it's hard for them to find out the proper inclusive channel for investment, which is Sharia compliant. So you can see that there are so many challenges, and apart from that, today I would like to say that there's no public participation, there's no inclusiveness. As an individual, it's hard for me to access to the Islamic bond investment. So I just come up to emphasize some challenges and problems we are facing in this industry, and how does this one relevant to blockchain? How blockchain could contribute to solve all these problems by introducing a new technologies. And as I just mentioned before, Islamic banking today considers the richest people in our society, and financing acquisition plans or private equity investment in London to buy luxury apartment, for fixed incomes. And is this our initiatives? Is this our objectives? But our objective today, from regards to the Sharia, that is, we're supposed to help the redistribution of our wealth in society, to the empowerment of our communities from so many different jurisdictions, to bring the financial inclusion, to bring the connectivity and cohesiveness. All right. So apart from that, we find out that Islamic finance has become a sophisticated tool and instrument to serve the investment only. It does not really deliver this promise. So I believe that in the conventional, our pioneers in our industry, we have a very conventional mindset. And I think that it's time for us to embrace something beyond our horizon, like blockchain technologies. And here we would like to say that I'm a little bit aggressively criticize our challenges in the blockchain, in the Islamic finance. And in my next part, I would like to contribute how blockchain is going to solve this problem. Firstly, our public chain that has been it has been in development for almost 2 years, right? So we we developed this blockchain. We call it tailor-made public chain that satisfy Islamic economy. Firstly, I would like to emphasize about our business position and the complications of ecosystem. Because today, if you look at the blockchain space, and most of the successful applications about blockchain is about cryptocurrency, right? This is the first one. And secondly, some of the most successful applications is about gambling, online lotteries, all right? So, which is kind of in conflict with our traditional cultural values. So when we designed this public chain, we needed to give some considerations about this ecosystem to make sure it is Sharia compliant and also with ethical considerations. This is the first one. Secondly, is about like security and our consensus. Because today we have many consensus. We have proof of stake, we have a proof of work, and we adopt a classical blockchain state. That is proof of work. Because why? Because why we adopt POW? Because you might hear a lot of like, let me say, criticizement about this phone. It consumes energy, all this kind of thing. All right. But what I'm trying to say is, with POW, that you cannot just print out money without any cost. The problem we are trying to solve that is, when you want to print out, when you want to produce money, there must be a cost. All right. So you cannot just create like coins or tokens from thin air. Right. It is financially funded by the algorithm and secured by blockchain. And from the perspective to reduce and remove the riba from industry and from our system, and POW is more, how can I say, is more in line with our values, because it's more secure, more decentralized, and which we are trying to say that is, if you want to have something, likewise right now, if you want to have some HLC coins, there's only two solutions: mine it or earn it. You cannot get it for free. All right. So it stands for work, proof of work. All right. It stands for work. So the coins we have stands for our value we created. It stands for the wealth we created. It cannot, the wealth, the value, the money cannot just come from nowhere. All right. It cannot be coming from thin air. So that is why we introduced like this POW solutions. We adopt classical structure of UTXO from Bitcoin network to pick up the element of security, decentralization. All right, this is from the technical perspective. And secondly, and in terms of scalability, is one of the challenges that is prevalent to our industry. And the biggest challenge for us is to scale a decentralized blockchain with a special business model that with concerns and compliance of Islamic economy. So three issues: scalability, business model, economic model, that is an incentive plan to incentivize the participation of all the stakeholders, and also the scalability, like the TPS issues. So likewise right now, if you want to introduce like a stable coin or crypto asset in our real business use cases, you have to have some performance, right? So we introduce that technologies to come up with scalability, and at the same time, we don't compromise with security. So, and the business model is focused with Islamic economy. So that is what we are trying to say. Apart from that, is another consideration is about you have to demonstrate you are inclusive. You don't close doors, right? And if you develop your applications from Ethereum, Stellar, Bitcoin network, smart contractor, we all have a chance for cross-chain talk to come up with this interoperability. So scalability, security, and special concerns of the system. So this is how HLC blockchain is going to contribute to the Islamic economy from this perspective, to reduce riba, to bring the liquidity, to tokenize the asset, to release the full potential, and invite the stakeholders from our perspective to participate. And this is that technologies where later my colleague Mr. Pani is going to discuss more about how technology is going to incorporate with Bitcoin network as a UTXO structures. And here's like how do we set up this blockchain economy that is focused on Islamic economy. All right. So there are going to be 5 different layers, right? From the first layer, there's going to be underlying protocol based on the block back, based on POW, UTXO structures. All right. This is kind of like we call it ecosystem infrastructure. Islamic economy ecosystem infrastructure that is going to welcome everybody and accommodate everybody to participate. And the second one is about asset tokenization. All right. What is asset tokenization? All right. Today maybe Burj Khalifa. All right. Let me say it's a property, it's an asset, but there's no liquidity. You know what I'm saying? If we tokenize, if we go to the bank, the banker is here. He can only get 60% for collateral. But if we tokenize the whole asset and let this asset to move and to freely move from aerosphere from another where to introduce this kind of liquidity outward, inward, outward, inward investment is it's going to be a big contribution to the economy. So second layer is going to be asset tokenizations and applications. And another one that is going to be a stable coin. Stable coin can be like pegged with commodity, like diamond, like gold, all right? It can also be with real asset, like real estate, all right? With producing cash flow, or with reserves, all right? Or with financial asset, like Islamic bond. So stablecoin can be structured in many perspectives. So the last layer that is going to be payment, cross-border payment that is based on blockchain, based on asset, based on commodity, but all these layers is going to be in circulation to contribute this dynamic ecosystem of Islamic economy through blockchain. So we would like to work with our industry stakeholders to make this one come to reality. Next one, I'm going to introduce a small use cases and let me say tokenized spook. All right, let me say Islamic bond. Right, Islamic bond. Let me say today we are here. All right, we decided together to purchase an aircraft. All right, we purchased this aircraft and we leased to the airline company in Dubai. All right, so we are investors. We will issue a token against this asset for fractional ownership. So we have this token, it stands for the asset. We introduce this to the ecosystem, is a payment token, and also it's a utility token. So in this scenario, you will find out you are the investor at the same time you're the consumer. So it will remove the boundaries, it will remove the borders among different business sections and make it come to reality. Smart school. And apart from that, there are various different use cases we can consider about let us say Islamic bond, all right, Islamic insurance, waqf in the public sections, zakat to bring this kind of transparency, efficiency, openness, traceability, and visibility when we're trying to donate our money to the refugees from refugees from China. All right. Yeah. All right. So we have to as a donor, I want to trace how they spend their money, and I want to make sure that there's no there's a sufficient efficiency to channel this deliver to the last stage. So there are many use cases in the Islamic economy, but because all these kind of applications are designed, are running on the same universal ecosystem infrastructure, so this economy system is decentralized, and it is very dynamic, and it is very vivid. So here is almost at the last part of my speech, and I don't want to occupy too much time of our distinguished guest. So I just really give I think a passionate speech about the blockchain and Islamic economy, how hierarchies can solve the problems of Islamic finance, and to give our proposals. But today, I just actually before the commencement of the ceremony, I was discussing with one of our guests. He said, "Oh, Abdullah, you're the founder of the chain. You're the boss." I said, "You're halfway right. I'm the founder, but I'm not the owner, right? Because when this chain is launched by POW, even I'm the founder, I cannot control it. I cannot reverse any transactions. I cannot come up with double spending problems, because otherwise there's a trust issue. If I can reverse any transactions from this blockchain that I designed, how can I will play this game alone? How can people trust to deliver, to conduct the transactions?" So here I would like to say there are some challenges to make these great initiatives to come to reality from technical perspectives, from legal perspectives. Later we have lawyers going to contribute to this topic, from the business behaviors, from the compliance, from regulators. But when we tackle these challenges, we'll make it come to reality. And today we have people coming from different backgrounds. I would like to emphasize how we are in together to set up this ecosystem. If you're a miner, let me say you want to investor in HLC, okay, mining, right? You have to mine, or you have to earn it from aerospace to contribution to this ecosystem. All right. And if you're a developer, because we are open source right now, later Mr. Tony, my colleague, is going to to showcase how we are going to onboard the developers. And because it is a public chain, and everybody has a capacity to contribute the commit, and whereby maybe we need to incentivize the participation of the developers from this part of the region. Actually, we would like to work with especially the developers from MENA region to participate in these great initiatives. And then we have communities. When you are a community in the crypto space, we would like to set up the community together. If you said I have some asset, I want to token asset, we can also work together. Apart from that, like you said, like I have a payment POC, I have a stablecoin POC, and I have a crowdfunding and a blockchain POC, proof of concept. Let us try to nurture this POC, come to the POC, and make it come to reality, and to let it grow and to enrich this great ecosystem. So this is the last part of my speech, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thanks very much. I'm very honored to be on stage.
All right, thank you for your wonderful speech and to talk about how blockchains solve the challenges and the problem in our traditional Islamic finance. Yeah, just like Abdullah mentioned now, and our HLC public chain has been developing for almost 2 years. So I just had a conversation with our colleague, Mr. Tani. He is our DEG expert and developer in our team, and he said one sentence like, "Talk is cheap," and just show me the code. So now I would like to invite Mr. Tani to show and to present how public chain works in based on public blockchain. So welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tony, one of the researchers and developers in the team on the HLC. Kimia project to you. Kimia means the proper name of the HLC collection. And Kimia might be the first blockchain serving global Islamic economy, as we all know, right? This is my agenda. First, I will give you a short overview of our project. Then I will go through the technical plan. Finally, I will give you a short demo to what we have done. This is the slogan I think I can give you to the community. As far as we know, in the technical team, we solve problem with two things. The first thing is performance. If we are capable to solve the problem. The other thing is application. If we really know our customers or the market. So we proposed a concept named classical blockchain setting. I think this is the best model to estimate, evaluate what a real blockchain is. Some projects claim that it solve the problems of Bitcoin or the blockchain, but they have a cost. They are just sacrifice one metric in order to win another metric, like sacrifice security to win the scalability. So we need to have a standard when we name this classical blockchain. Why this classical means? Because we respect what Bitcoin's intention means. We respect and we will try to solve what Satoshi has failed, but we try to help him to achieve his intention. The other aspect is shared consideration, because we are serving for the Islamic finance. And I think the Sharia consideration is the most thing that we care about most, right? Okay, this is the 4 metrics that we come up with that to estimate a real blockchain or a true blockchain. Openness, fairness, security, and scalability. I will introduce each aspect one by one. First thing, real blockchain, the first thing is should be open, because we are public blockchain. What are public means? We are not a consortium blockchain. So the best standard, to tell if it's a real public chain is that if you welcome your customers, your users to join and leave your network freely. there's no standard. And the other thing is, you can tell if it's a real blockchain public chain. If there are some special nodes, like so-called super nodes, master nodes, or validators, or whatever. But in hidden media network, there's only one role. The name is the node, no special nodes, only the nodes. The other thing is, how do we achieve that, achieve the openness? Because we are using proof of work. Proof of work is among all the consensus algorithms so far, proof of work is the most fair and open algorithm because everyone just own a computer or a CPU and electricity. They has the ticket to join the network without any without any other things they require to obtain. Only CPU and electricity. This is the really open standard. The other thing is fair. This fairness is ignored by most of people because people care about too much about security and scalability. From our perspective, I think fairness is the most thing that represents the spirit of blockchain. We are using this concept named incentive competitive, and this concept is just really simple. You can understand it as you contribute more and you will obtain more. It's fair, right? And how we define the fairness? I have two aspects. The first thing is the opportunity cost. Let me explain why we call it opportunity cost. The opportunity cost means you gain the return. You have a stable expectation on your return. So Bitcoin is open, it's fine, but Bitcoin is not opportunity. Bitcoin has a high opportunity cost. As we all know, the top 5 mining pools control the majority of the hashing power. So if the top miners can work together and they can do whatever they like. So if you are a miner or you are a normal user, you have no choice. It's not fair. You have to join the mining pool, otherwise you will just be kicked out. So this is just like, so Bitcoin is like a lottery game. Either then you win the high price or nothing. So everyone, if you are not joining, on the Bitcoin setting, if you are not joining to a mining pool, you don't have the ticket to join the network. So how do we solve the problem? Well, we use a block DAG. Block DAG is an innovative structure other than blockchain. Block DAG is a collaboration game, not a competition game. So which means that everyone in this network has a return. No matter if you are strong or weak, you have a return. You get what you have invested. But if you are joining a competition game, only the strongest win them all. The winner takes all. The loser has to fall, right? So this is the main difference between blockchain, block DAG, and blockchain. And the other thing with respect to the fairness is about the mining efficiency. As we all know, the circuit, the Xerox circuit will come up with different results. So if you are using a CPU, and another one is using a GPU, we all know GPU is, with the same cost, about saying maybe $1 investment, the GPU will return more. But if you are compete with a professional player, like you are running a mining farm, they are not using GPU, they are using ASIC. ASIC means specific integrated circuit. It's a special circuit to just do one thing, to mine the coin. So they can win a much more efficiency with the same cost. Maybe $1, they will maybe $1. The efficiency will maybe 20,000 more than a personal computer. So how do we to avoid this unfairness? We are introducing a fairness mining algorithm named proof of cycle proof of work. It's ASIC resistant. The third aspect is security. I think this, no one will doubt this. This is the fundamental metric of the blockchain, right? But every project claims that they are secure. How can we tell if it really is secure or just they claim themselves secure? We can just think about two things. The first thing is decentralization. Why decentralization is regarding to the security? Because the reason behind this is really simple. Because if you are centralized, you are facing the so-called single point failure problem. Means that if you are trying to take down one system, you have no need to kill everyone. You just kill one important person, and the whole system will be done. So this is called single point failure. But if you are fully centralized, if you want to take down the system, you have to take down everyone. So this cost is much higher. And the other reason is, if your system is just controlling a small circle, this is really easy for them to connect with each other to do bad things. So this decentralization is a critical factor of the security. Kilometer is fully decentralized, which means as I said before, there's no special nodes. So everyone is equal. It's a truly peer-to-peer network. The other thing regarding to security is about fault tolerance. Because you can understand that we are running a country like a democracy country. If you are winning the majority votes, you are winning the game. You are the president of the country, right? So in a democracy country, the highest standard of the democracy is you are winning the majority, 50%. So does the kilometer network. Because if you want to control our network, you need to control more than 50% hashing power or nodes. This standard is not existing in every network. Some network only you just need to control maybe 10% or 20% of the network resources you can control. But in here you have to control more than 50%. So this is the highest standard of fault tolerance. The other thing is scalability. I think this is as Abdullah just covered. This is the most aspect that we care, because this is the main point of Bitcoin. As we all know, Bitcoin has only seven transactions per second in theory, just in theory. In reality, they cannot reach that high. But so as we are all cross-border payment, or as we are a global payment system, this standard is far beyond the expectation, right? So how do we achieve the problem? But firstly, I will give you our performance. I think the scalability is consists of the three aspects. The first thing is the root, or transactions per second. In a conservative figure, we are more than 1,000 transactions per second. And the other thing is information, because we are a payment. You won't expect that the user has the patience to wait maybe 1 hour as Bitcoin does to 100 ensure that his payment is secure. But in Kilometer, there's only less than 10 seconds information time. So if you send out your transaction, you have only at the most. I mean for majority cases, at most 10 seconds. Then you can pretty sure that your payment is safe. And the other thing is the cost. So if you are just through the solve the problem through and information, but the cost is high. If, for example, you need to in current Bitcoin setting, you need cost in about $2 average for one transaction. I think this is painful for ordinary users, right? For most cases. So how do we solve this problem? Because we introduced the special destruction or ledger, of the ledger. We call it block DAG. DAG means a directed acyclic graph. So this is this graph is a typical block DAG. There's no time for me to introduce too much about technical details, but you will see that blockchain is a chain, right? It's like so what is the difference between DAG and chain? The difference is really simple. Actually, there's no essential difference between DAG and blockchain, because you just memorize this sentence. Block DAG is a general case or general form of blockchain. When blockchain is in a high throughput status. As we all know, because there's a delay, we are a decentralized world. So if you are created a block and the other one also created, so there's two blocks in parallel, right? So you will see then the final status will be a DAG. So the problem is in blockchain settings we just have only choice. We need to just confirm one chain and discard the others. But in blockchain, so you will know that this is really waste because others' work will be discarded. But in blockchain settings, we incorporate, we respect everyone's work. Even if you are just a weak miner, you can create a minus per second, and the other maybe stronger than you. He can make create the blocks maybe 10 times than you. But everyone's work is respected. So this is the big difference between block DAG and blockchain. Okay, that's all for the performance aspect. Let's move on to the application perspective. We are talking to the Islamic finance. A lot of blockchain claim that they have solved the Islamic problem. But not the problem they are talking to the Islamic finance. But from our side, we don't think that they are truly solve the problem, because they are using a chain. Is a universal or in a general chain. They don't design their architect targeting to the problem. But we don't. We from the very beginning we take we take the Sharia consideration into account. So there's no way for the malicious users to work around our measures to do some bad things. I think the most how our tokenization mechanism insists of two critical factors. The first thing is we have intrinsic value guarantee, which means that all your assets is backed by real assets. You cannot just create a coin from thin air. There is no chance. The other thing is, even though you are a great malicious user, you would like to do some investment to do the balancing, but there's no. We have a last defense because we have assets as a authentication measure. So there's no chance for malicious to work around our system. First, I'm going to tell you more about how do we achieve the intrinsic value guarantee. You know, let me firstly I will give you an example of Ethereum. The Ethereum token you can create whatever you like without negligible cost. So you can create 10 billion, 1,000 billion, whatever you like, without any cost. But in our settings, you can, of course, you can, if you have enough the native currency, in our settings, HLC, you can do, but there is a really high cost. So, like just like the gold minting process, we cannot create the gold. We can just mint a golden sand into a golden coin, vice versa. Or if I want to another gold artificial, we just melt down the golden coin and to create another gold masterpiece, right? The same thing. So the total amount of the coins and the assets is a constant. It's consistent. This the other the other advantage of this mechanism is that the coins and the currency won't be two separate ecosystems. They are into the same system. So we share the risk and the return. So I mean the token holders also have the responsibility to help the on the layer or the native currency because their interests are combined. Because they are in the same ecosystem. This is another benefit. The other thing is aspect is from the creation of our coins. We not just build, as we said before, we not just create the coins from thin air. We use proof of work. You need to develop some cost, like electricity, whatever, to win the game, to become the holders of the coins. The other thing, this is our unique. We don't see other project has these settings. If you want to, even though, as I said before, even though you work around all this, you would like to pay some money to do some other things. But because we have the last defense. Because if you want to enlist an asset or another token to our system, you need to obtain a license first. The license, who owns this license? Only the renowned organizations own those licenses. So you will, even you walk around those measures, you have the license, you need to face the renowned organizations, their eyes, you need to cheat them. I think this is impossible for most cases, right? Okay, this is all we have for the first part. Then move on to the second part, our open source plan. And firstly, I will introduce all the projects or the repositories we have for open source. Then I will give you a short review of white paper. Then I will, the most highlight of our work is the HIPs. I will introduce what are the HIPs means. Finally, I will introduce the core library for the developers. The first thing is I think our repository have two aspects. First is document, and the other thing is development. Some people would think that if you are running a technical project, you have no work for the document. They are all technical. In reality, or in the best practice, wrong. Because we have a process. We respect everyone's hard work, and we are careless. We are careful for every improvement of our work. So if you want to add some features, or if we want to improve or add or do some contribution, you have to propose first, and after we discuss and put your source or your improvement into a document, then we start the development. So this process it will greatly avoid some careless mistakes. For documents, we mainly has three projects. So far, we have more projects. I mean, this project repository is so far open source because we still have other projects. We have a plan, right? So far, we have open source the white paper, HIPs, and docs. And for development repos, we have live, CLI. Live means the core library, and this is the most important. CLI means is an interactive tool for for most users to communicate with our server. And the JS tool library is for the client-side developers. Suppose you are a wallet developers, or you are Explorer developer, you would use the JS library to implement your application. And the text project is for the community to experience what our project be like. And so you just follow the instructions step by step, and you will run a real Kitmia project. The last thing is proof work. Spectre is the core consensus algorithm we have implemented. So if you want to see some theory behind it, you can just to study this project. Okay, this is just a list. White paper, as we just covered, I think I had the block concept part and tokenization framework. But the thing I need to mention is the interoperability. Because we are running a project, we're just doing for ourselves, but we're trying to target for the whole Islamic finance market. So far, we have devised a standard or protocol for the ecosystem, like wallet developers, miners, smart contract developers, or other contributors from the community. This is the HIPS. HIPS means high chain improvement proposal. If you are care about Bitcoin and Ethereum, you will know this is a bad practice for the blockchain industry. Bitcoin has BIP. BIP means Bitcoin improvement proposals, and Ethereum has Ethereum improvement proposals. Also, other chain has our improvement proposals. Following these steps means our improvement or our project is totally driven by the open source community. The second thing is proposal means there's not a proposal means just is a document work. So it's not limited to the technology team. If you are good at business, or if you want to give your ideas to the economy model, you also can to propose your idea, and we will adopt that if it's really good. This is the list of the development repository we have open source so far. I just put this one. This is for the developers. If you want to development your apps, you want to develop your apps on top of Kitmia network, you can use this library. The library has covered 4 components: cryptocurrency algorithm, data structure, and the network service and blockchain infrastructure. So I think that this is not. So far, we haven't open sourced the Kitmia project, but in the next step, we will open source that repo. But I think so far, if you are clever, this is enough for you to achieve your ideas. Okay, for the last part, I will do a short demonstration of our work so far. So this demo is really simple. Just I'm running a remote node. Then I'm running a local node. So these 2 nodes will form a real network. And I will show that here. I don't fake you. I will show the IP of the 2 nodes. And the third step is just do a quick transfer from the remote node to the local, and we do the manual. So this is the typical process of the blockchain. Okay.
Tony said, talk is cheap and code is more expensive, so try to get some more expensive stuff here.
This is a remote node. How do I prove that the remote node we can check its IP? This node is from Hong Kong. right? So this is the real remote node. Yeah, it is. This is my local computer. Also, I'll give you the IP. So yeah, this is from Dubai. Okay, I'm running the remote node first. This is the remote node, and it's running. Then I will enlarge this font size. I will connect our local node to the remote node. You see, when this server is running, there's some response for the remote node, which means that the two nodes has formed a real network because you see they receive a connection request. Okay, yeah, that's all for the first two steps. Then I will initiate a transfer. Just give me a library by as I just introduced, give me a this is an interactive client for us to connect to the remote node. Now, so far, for this node we have 280 blocks. So we choose anyone from the any block from. Let's say we are choosing the number 5 block. So what we do? This is 2 updates. This is the structure of the block 5, number 5. And this is the minus transaction. So I will let the minus transfer some money to me. Is rich, right? Yes, remember this is the local node. So this is what you take some standard in because this is a transaction, and we are trying to spend this transaction's output. The 2 is the number or the the number of the transaction is output. Okay. Then first we create a raw transaction and take a look. And then we sign the transaction. Finally, we send a set. send the transaction, I think the remote node will have some response. This is our miner, and we will open this miner for community later. So for if we are running a mining farm, I think we will share about this project. This is a GPU miner, so the running speed is really fast. After I run this miner, you will see there is a lot of project blocks. You see, I have mined 3 blocks, and the server received this request. So that's all for today. Just the brief introduction of our work so far. Super.
It's really the line impression as a public chain. I mean, if you're really interested in it, later on you can try to log in on GitHub and try to figure out how blockchain really works based on blockchain. And also, I would like to be a miner as well. To buy my HLC. What time is gonna mine?
You should do this fast.
All right.
Otherwise, you have no chance.
All right. So next part, we would like to talk about how to address current challenges in global economy by innovative various use cases of blockchain in real economy and beyond. So I would like to introduce the moderator, Prof. Abdul Salam, and welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much for coming to the open source launching ceremony of HLC blockchain. Without further delay, we have a number of developers, industry stakeholders, and investors, real estate organizations who are members of these panelists. I would like to call upon them. We have lawyers who have, regarding regulations, regarding the blockchain and tokenization. First of all, allow me to call Mr. Shamil Toha, CEO of Acubate company, blockchain company here. Please welcome him. We'll now go to call Ms. Akshata from Canberra Legal Consultants. Please welcome him, a lawyer and regulation regarding the blockchain technology. So I'll also talk to call the industry regulators, Mr. Namin Khan, Chairman, Middle East FinTech Association. Please welcome him. Among the list also this panel, I would like to call Mr. Ronan from Indonesia, Yusuf Wijaya, is the co-founder and country head of Ethic Venture Capital, Ethic Ventures. They are also in the real estate organization about the blockchain. You are welcome all. Without doing further delay, we know that this industry, as mentioned from the presentation of Mr. Tony, that there is no any in this industry, in the blockchain industry, there's no any blockchain without any case study. So HLC were not left behind about this. As you know that we focus our real use cases based in order to reshape the Islamic economy. So without further delay, we also like to see that what are the use cases which is also available in our blockchain. Well, you have seen the last section which we have now is too technical. Most of us, we don't understand what about it. This is what we call the blockchain. And this is how this blockchain, we have been working for 2 years in order to shape the Islamic economy and beyond. So without further delay, I would like us to call Mr. Shamil in order to give us what are the, as I said before, in any case that you are welcome, the most important thing is in any blockchain, there has got to be a solution. So what are the key important things about we had other publishing for HLC publishing now? They have already told us have some use cases which is going to be help the industry. So how do you think this will assist developers, the coders in the industry, blockchain industry? So you are welcome.
So firstly, there's certainly a lot of key advantages for developers and the community. So first of all, most enterprises, most government organizations are going with permission blockchains, which kind of deviates from what a blockchain, truly decentralized platform is supposed to be. So with HLC, which is a public chain, and that too open sourcing, it opens it for more trust with all the stakeholders. So if you look at a lot of use cases which have actually been implemented in the marketplace today, adoption of some of these use cases have failed primarily because of the lack of trust to onboard. So it's either owned by one of the consortiums or by one of the entities, which actually creates a distrust within the stakeholder ecosystem. So be it banks, be it logistic firms, or the largest use cases that have been implemented. I don't want to name the names, but we know some of the ones that have actually not been successful in the implementation of execution tools. Talking about the use cases, there's definitely a lot of things, right from identity management, supply chain traceability. So we've also been involved in quite a few of those initiatives, right from education. Supply chain traceability has a lot of implications. We were earlier just talking about identifying original goods, be it luxury products or actual genuine products. Seafood traceability is something that we're currently looking at, where we are trying to create a clean trace from the origin to the manufacturer to the distributor. So there's definitely a lot of implications that can be a lot of benefits from a public chain, that to an open source platform. We are actually opening it up for the developer ecosystem to start contributing and developing further applications on the platform.
Thank you very much for your contribution. So, in the blockchain industry, one of the challenges when we are discussing our HLC public chain is the regulations. I think most of developers and the blockchain industry will have to face a lot of issues related to legal applications. So, Mr. Aksheta, so what is the legal applications in terms of use cases? We have already mentioned, the work of chain, tokenization of real estate assets. So, what are the legal applications for this?
Thank you for the question. So far as the regulatory aspects are concerned, thankfully in the last 2 or 3 years, the regulators have warmed up to the idea of regulating the space. So far as Islamic finance is concerned, few of the most relevant challenges were the certification, the halal certification, the problems with traceability. the problem of not having the consensus between various jurisdictions who are ready to certify halal compliant products. With solutions like HLC, I see that getting simplified further. I see that will become easier. Cross-border payments will become easier with HLC open source. The ideas that we heard today here with all our from all our speakers, concepts like stablecoin, concepts like being able to issue super bonds through tokenization, that is something that regulators like Abu Dhabi global market have finally warmed up to. They have accepted the idea. They have started considering tokenized forms of halal products. If they are qualifying as a security, they are treating them as a security and considering them legally compliant. Similarly, so far as stablecoins are concerned, if they are asset backed, if they are backed by real estate, the same concept has been accepted in the region, like in specifically Abu Dhabi global market, Bahrain Central Bank. They have accepted these ideas. So the regulatory framework is up and coming, and as lawyers who are between the companies and the regulator, I will tell you that more solutions like these are required. So I'm actually very happy that HLC is going to establish.
Is there any country which they have regulation on the cryptocurrency or blockchain? Is there any country that has regulation of the crypto assets?
So most jurisdictions are defining the way they want to regulate currencies, crypto assets and cryptocurrencies. Jurisdictions are looking at regulating them as a form of security, one that the company can issue like shares or equity. On the other hand, they are also trying to regulate the crypto assets, which in itself will have the image of cryptocurrencies. They're also trying to regulate stablecoins, the fiat tokens, if they are backed by the fiat currency. So there are a lot of concepts which have worked through the regulations in the last few years. We are yet to see how they will get implemented.
So now we move to most of the fintech association. The MENA, we have MENA fintech association. What are the contributions? Mr. Nami, can you share your experience regarding the fintech, blockchain, and the regulation, in terms of regulation, and in terms of setup of any use cases based on your experience?
Absolutely. Number one, thank you so much for having me over here, and congratulations to the entire team for kickstarting a fantastic initiative. So, a little about me. I also actually come in from an Islamic finance background as well, so I can very much relate to it too. So the thing is that when it comes to the regulatory side, as mentioned by my peer Akshata, that the regulators at this point of time have now actually warmed up, and now they're actually working in collaboration with the community itself to actually establish regulations that are conducive for growth, and that are basically enabling growth and actually encouraging new solutions and new propositions and new concepts to come in. That's the first thing. To an extent, what we have actually done recently, only last week, exactly a week back, we had the 22 regulators who were present within the premises of Abu Dhabi, and all of us were discussing on the key issues and key subjects, which includes blockchain itself, right? And how we need to basically work on that. So in terms of the regulators have actually started listening to the community. So the reason why I'm here and the reason why other members of the group are here is that because the voice of individuals like yourself and people who are sitting out there who know what needs to be done next needs to be heard. Because right now the regulations previously were being made how? The regulations were being made with the feedback of typically the big fours. I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to be controversial, but then yet again, the feedback was coming in from the big four or from the corporate giants. But the innovators were not being heard of, right? Now the bridge is being connected such that the regulators are actually hearing out the innovators and the solution creators and getting the feedback to establish the next regulations that are going to be in place. And of course, blockchain being critical and a very vital part of it. That's the second thing, right? After that, in terms of the solutions coming in, my specific perspective, because of course coming in from the Islamic finance background itself, I'm yet to see anything till date. After today, I mean, of course, finally you guys have launched a platform within the MENA region, which is unique in its own way. Till date, we haven't seen any of such platforms that have really emerged. So one of the first ones, I must say, early movers, which is Halal Chain right now. So congratulations for that. So Islamic finance is missing. However, the critical side of this on the multiple initiatives that I can actually line up right now, multiple initiatives, multiple use cases as well, and the numerous of them. If I was to basically list them down, then I wouldn't really do justice because you would know better yourself. However, one thing I would like to identify the gap. So you mentioned Islamic economy development earlier on, right? And they, if you go to them and if you look into the vision that they have specific verticals. They have food and beverage, they have tourism and multiple others. But you see, the most common thing, despite the different verticals, is what? I mean, I may be focusing on any specific vertical, but the common thread throughout these verticals is finance, right? And that's where we come into play as well, right? So this is a gap that has been catered, and this is a gap that you will be furthermore catering as well. So once again, this becomes another use case in your own territory specific to Islamic finance, which has not been catered to as of yet. In terms of the next steps, of course, one of the key things that we have been given the mandate to focus on is Islamic finance as well. How do you build up Islamic finance industry when it comes to fintech on a broader perspective within the region? So I think that's where you come into play, and that's where you basically, once again, as an early mover, as a first mover, establish the ground. So from my little experience and in terms of the regulators and how they are welcoming it, so we have reg labs that have been established, right? So reg labs are only encouraging not just yourself, but of course new solutions, new propositions, new exchanges that are coming up to come in and of course test the solutions, test their proposition and go out there. So it has never been a better time than to basically create something, and solutions like yourselves, because you being the first movers and setting the stage, I think there was never a better time right now for anyone else to enter into the market and furthermore contribute to the development of Islamic finance.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the motion. So, as you know that the fintech is one of the things that and the blockchain industry, one of the problem is that to find a real use case. And which we have already mentioned now in our public chain, we have already have a proposal of most of the use cases, like real estate tokenization, smart SQL, Hajj chain, Wakaf chain, so smart zakat. So all these kind of applications, you can use it in our public chain. So now I would like to ask Mr. Ronald, come from Indonesia. What is we want you to share your experience regarding the applicable use cases which you are already involved and which you can use our platform to develop your real estate tokenization on the HLC platform. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Assalamualaikum everyone. Let me introduce myself. I'm Ronald Yusuf Wijaya. I'm actually co-founder for This Crowd. We are pioneering the Sharia compliance real estate crowdfunding in Southeast Asia. I have a few slides here just to give you a visual about what are we doing. All right. This is my use cases. We've been doing this for around 4 years. What we do is basically we are doing crowdfunding from international retail investors. This is a few of our projects here. You can see on my left side, this is a Kampung Islami. Basically, it's a special housing for the Muslim, for Islamic community. And on the other side is a subsidized housing in Indonesia. Why we specify or focus in this property? Because in my country, we have a backlog of around 11 million public housing. That means the demand is very high, but the supply is very less. every year we can only produce less than 100,000, and it's piling up. The needs is piling up. Okay. As of today, we managed to get retail investor, around 1,200 from total 76 countries, mostly from Singapore, also Malaysia, but from the Middle East is growing, and also a strong growth from the Europe. And luckily, I can share that around 25% of our investors are non-Muslim. Even though it's Sharia compliant, but around 25 to 30% are non-Muslim. Especially from Singapore, it's growing very fast. And as you can see here, on my next slide, this is our view of our recognition in the past 3 years. On the top left, it is from the Sheikh Hamdan. It was in 2016. And then in the middle, in Singapore, on my right is from Dr. Humayandar from the UK. And then from Malaysia, middle is from Abu Dhabi. And the most recent one is in Bahrain, last November 2018. And Alhamdulillah, last year in March, I was invited to present my model in Expo Dubai 2020. And on May, I was winning the grant from the Dubai Expo. And hopefully, my platform will be showcased in the Expo Dubai next year. This is a brief what we are doing. Basically, the implementation of blockchain, the tokenization of real estate is real. We are doing in semi-automatic way. Eventually, when we implement halal chain, later on, this will be more accessible, faster, and more transparent, and has a better credibility. I hope to get a full support. This is only to visual what we can done for the Sharia and Islamic economy. Thank you.
I have just a few things, because of course Islamic finance has been close to my heart. Before we close, I won't take much of your time. So the important thing is that you saw what these guys. So Umar is a great friend of mine as well. I didn't know you Umar's friend. So basically, an important thing is that coming from the Takaful side, Takaful has always suffered significantly throughout, gone into losses. The Waqf pool has always been to losses because their hasna is something we take all the time. Why? Why does that happen? The expense ratio is significantly on the higher side. The expense ratio is higher than premiums, and the premium ratio is significantly lower, right? Now, there are new propositions that are coming out these days. One of them is like peer-to-peer insurance. What is peer-to-peer insurance? Peer-to-peer insurance is what you see in the Takaful. Exactly the same. Completely A to Z is the Takaful. Peer-to-peer. The most important thing is utilizing technology and then implementing into our models. So that peer-to-peer company, which is based out of the US, has significantly grown massively. Why? Because they've always used technology. And of course, the expense ratio has gone down, the margins have gone up. Therefore, becoming a very successful model. Therefore, once again, this becomes a solid use case for even the Takaful companies to utilize within their own systems. Therefore, decreasing the expense ratio and once again improving the profit margin as well. Then your Waqf pool and your pool that you have right now becomes profitable. That's the second thing. The last thing that I just want to highlight is the positioning. Positioning is always key and important. So you may have the right tech at the back, but then at the same time, what Atheist has done is positioning, communicating to the market in the right fashion, in the right manner. So I think Islamic finance also needs to understand this point as well, that fine, you may have tech, you may have everything at the back, but at the same time, if you're not able to communicate to the market in the right way, in the right form, in the right place, then you will never be able to scale the way these other commercial giants have been doing. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Before we go to the second round of questions, so we just want to take some questions from the audience, or developers, participants, if you have any questions. So we will be able to take. Any questions?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Well, first of all, let me introduce myself, Muhammad Abu Bakr, co-advisor CEO. My question is concerning the part of the regulation, and since this is the first product, let's say, the blockchain Islamic or halal blockchain, focused on the Sharia compliance. We don't know exactly any information through which index, Islamic index, the CNH is following. And my let's say question or suggestion, why we not produce or let's say insist our own blockchain Islamic index, or let's say to follow Sharia compliance and to produce it for the rest of the blockchains directly. So this is the question.
Thank you very much.
That's actually a great point. Sharia compliance or Sharia certification has been one of the major concerns even in the legal industry, because there have been many instances where the product has been, let's say, Sharia compliant in one jurisdiction and the same has not been either acceptable in the other jurisdiction or same has not complied enough with the principles of Sharia. They got their way around, they were able to manage to deploy the businesses. So far as the regulatory aspect is concerned, what remains of utmost importance is the traceability aspect of it. If you are able to trace it back to a position where you were able to describe your product as to how is it Sharia compliant, that is where it takes us back. That's exactly why blockchain solutions are very important, blockchain solutions like HLC, because they give us that leverage of traceability. That's the first problem. Secondly, so far as a consensus of Sharia principles is concerned, from a legal perspective, I can tell you Sharia principles are the same across the jurisdictions. What the requirements are for that certification is something that changes the dynamics. So the way blockchain helps us is that it brings the focus back to the product itself, because the product needs to be Sharia compliant. So that's where the blockchain solution could be helpful. Which certification or which jurisdiction will it comply with is, again, it's more on the reciprocity. I as a jurisdiction, as a legally valid certification system, am I ready to accept something which has been given by third jurisdiction? That's one of the questions. Secondly, when I am certifying it, whether or not it is complying with the basic Sharia principles is the second aspect. Achieving a consensus is something that's debatable.
Assist for the Sharia.
Here is like, we have seen Bitcoin, we have seen Ethereum, and now it's Avalanche. So how different it is from Bitcoin and Ethereum from Islamic principles?
Can you repeat your question again?
No.
Yeah, we didn't hear you.
What's the difference? What is from Bitcoin and Ethereum? What is HLC? How is HLC different? From HLC, and answer the best.
The difference between HLC and
Bitcoin and Ethereum.
From Islamic principles.
From an Islamic principle. The thing is that we know that Bitcoin is based on the proof of work, okay, proof of stake. And the Ethereum is based on the proof of stake. It is based on the Islamic principle. Is the thing which is known that you have anything you do, you have to work for it. It's not maybe you can just take it like that. That is why the reason why we will see that the HLC will move, or our protocol is based on the proof of work plus the DAT technology. So that is the thing that in building this, we have already taken into consideration that all these Sharia principles in building our protocol. That is the difference. Technically, within the Ethereum, our own blockchain is based on proof of work plus that. But the Ethereum is based on the proof of stake. So that is technically that's the difference. In terms of Sharia consideration, so we have already mentioned it to most of those who are going to use our blockchain, public chain, that anything related to use cases like gambling, weapon will not be welcome in our blockchain. Is that enough?
Still not convinced on this because
Okay.
how we can control, for example, if you are open sourcing HLC and now as a developer or ecosystem, I can trade anything on that.
Yeah, if you go to the GitHub, you get all the information about our blockchain.
Right.
That's why we are launching it today, in order to launching it to the public, and then you can get it on GitHub.
Yeah. Tomorrow, if I start trading the weapons on the blockchain for illegal trading, so how are we going to control that?
Yeah, we are going to control based on because we have our developers, we are the control it, okay? And then anything which is still not in line with the Sharia consideration will not be welcome on the website. And the guidelines already there, based on our legal regulation that we have already made that this protocol, anything which is contradicts to the Sharia principles will not be accepted on our platform. Okay. Any other question? Any other question? Yep. Yes, we are going to set up that one. So, inshallah, I know we have already have the platform for it in order to look all the Sharia issues, Sharia regulation. Based on that one, we call it Sadiq chain. So this Sadiq chain are going to be one of our platform whereby anything related to Sharia issues, Sharia cases on our platform, on the HLC blockchain, they are going to look and we will direct it to them. Yeah. And then this another entity, they will set up based on the Sharia governance, they have to have, and if you are claim that you are Sharia compliant, you have to have the Sharia board, Sharia committee or whatever. So that is our plan. Any other questions?
I have a suggestion that sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
That if typically the sort of questions that are coming in, we could do an educational side as well for the audience as well some other time to basically highlight the questions regarding to Sharia compliance and how the differentiation factor comes into play. I think that would just play a clear role, and then eventually everyone is going to turn into an ambassador of HLC.
That's one of the suggestions. So thank you very much for that. And regarding the index, which you also say that that's how it's possible, and we are thinking of having it in order to have the index for the blockchain, and then we have to have that initiative, inshallah. Yes. They will follow us. Yes. It's a good idea. We're having that one even though in terms of having, there's no any public chain without a chain. So that exchange also we are planning to have a Sharia compliant chain whereby all the other blockchain industry they will follow the HLC.
All right, great. Okay, thank you for our founder, moderator, and thank you for all panelists. And that's all we have we've got today. And also we have a very special distinguished guest today. And he is a former president of Michael University and also a very famous computer scientist and also a chief research officer from the American University of Sharjah. So, all right, thank you everybody. I'm very pleasure to behalf of College to welcome